for joining me today. My name is Amy, and I'm on a weight loss journey to lose 180 pounds. As of my first weigh in video, which I'll leave a link to that in the description below, I started at 304 pounds on January 1st, and I ended up at 284 pounds by May 24th. So I was down 20 pounds in the first 21 weeks. For 15 of those weeks, I injected either compounded tirzepatide or name brand Zepbound. I started at 1,800 calories per day and worked my way down to a maximum of 1,600 average calories per day. Here are the calorie summaries from the last 5 weeks. We'll discuss in just a minute why I've been paring my calories back a little, more and more each week. My ultimate goal is to land around 1,400 average calories per day in a week. I'm still taking Zepbound, and my side effects are still very minimal, just the occasional sulfur burps and constipation, which I easily manage with Calm, a magnesium citrate supplement. I've not had any nausea in quite a while, and I still inject in my lower left or right stomach, and I'm not finding any difference in these spots. The area doesn't get sore, and I have no skin reaction. But I do notice the needles that come with the branded Zepbound are a little larger gauge, and they do tend to sting a bit going in. My appetite suppression is still very good, and I'm only having occasional food noise, and that's usually like Thursday afternoon through Saturday morning when I'm ready to take my next shot. This week, I don't know what it was, Saturday, I totally forgot about taking my shot, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting up every 5 minutes to try and find something to eat. I wasn't really hungry, but my brain was telling me that I needed to eat food. So let's get into what you came here for. Let's go over my weight loss figures. So this is going to cover 5 weeks starting from May 25th through June 28th, which is week 22 to 26 of my weight loss journey. Now that would be 5 shots of Zepbound, and that would be shots 15 through 19. And all those shots were 7.5 milligrams of Zepbound. Now I am getting that direct from Lilly, the manufacturer, and I have individual vials that only contain that much medication. So my 15th shot, I went from 284 pounds to 286 pounds. So that was a 2-pound weight gain, and that was mainly due to water retention. I was really swollen that week and think I must have gotten into a food allergy. So for shot 16, I went from 286 pounds to 286 pounds, so 0 weight loss. For shot 17, I went from 286 pounds to 282 pounds, so that was a 4-pound loss. I lost a little weight, but by this time my water retention and swelling was gone as well. For shot 18, I went from 282 pounds to 282 pounds, so that was a 0-pound loss. For shot 19, I went from 282 pounds to 280 pounds when I weighed in on June 28th. So that was a 2-pound loss to finish out the month. Overall, I ended up losing 4 pounds with the 5 shots. And that brings me to a total weight loss of 24 pounds since January 1st, 2025. So let's go over my BMI. At the start date, it was 59.5. And when I weighed in on June 28th, it came out to 54.7. So that's a total of 4.80 points down on my BMI. With a 4-pound loss in 5 weeks, I was really disappointed with an average less than 1 pound loss per week. My ultimate goal has been to lose 1.5 pounds per week, and I'm really trying to hit that goal. So that's why I've started paring my calories back a bit. I've previously gone too far by only eating 1,300 calories a day, and that stalled my weight loss, so that's not right for me. I'm just trying to find a happy median that will help me lose weight in a reasonable amount of time. So let's talk about some of my scale goals. My first scale goal is to be down to 254 pounds by September 15th for a vacation later that week. This would be 46 pounds down since my last vacation, but I'm now 15 pounds behind my goal. I'm really concerned that I'm not going to hit this goal. But I do have 2.5 months left, so I really hope that I'm not only going to lose 10 pounds by then. I have 26 pounds left to lose to hit that, and which seems really reasonable. So I've really got my fingers crossed. Luckily, sticking to my diet has been no issue. So it's just really whether my body wants to lose the weight. And some of the reasons why I really want to lose this extra weight before vacation include being able to fly without a seatbelt extender, being able to put my tray table down, being able to sit in a regular seat in economy without having to pay extra for extra legroom or the bulkhead. This can add a lot of expense to my travel that I really don't want to have to pay. Also, I really want to be able to get off the cruise ship and enjoy the ports, and believe me, not carrying that extra 50 pounds will help out a lot. So here's a story time. Talking about air travel, it reminds me of how cruel people can be to overweight people. If you are not or have not ever been overweight, you probably don't realize how cruel the general public can be, especially when you're more overweight than others. Here's a classic example of how I get treated. On my last flight on United Airlines, I was coming home from a cruise in Galveston, Texas. I was flying business class that served a meal. I paid the extra money for the larger seat because I didn't want to inconvenience my seatmates in economy. Now, I'd already flown from home to Galveston on the same type of aircraft and had no issue with my tray table for meal service. It was the overlap style and it barely fit, but I was able to put it down enough to eat my meal. But on the way back home, the seats were just slightly different, and I couldn't get the tray table to stay down across my lap to safely put my meal tray on it. The flight attendant noticed and was quite surly about it. I had to hold my tray in one hand and eat very awkwardly with the other. When I finished eating, the attendant markedly ignored me while he picked up other people's trays and made me hold my tray for at least an hour, and only took it when he had no choice but to take it for landing. I don't know what his issue is. He could have been kinder to someone struggling, but instead he kept making eye contact with me and walking away every time I tried to hand him my tray. Honestly, I'm not surprised. United is one of my least favorite airlines because their employees are always pretty disgruntled. So let's talk about some non-scale victories because those are just as important as the scale victories. Obviously, you're watching this, so I've set up my YouTube channel. That took me about 2 years to finally get up the courage to do. And I've posted more than 10 8 to 10 minute videos. For personal care, showering has gotten so much easier. And I know some of these aren't really going to make sense to people who are not overweight, but I have a really small scale for weighing, and I can now comfortably stand on it without squeezing my legs really tight together. That's, I don't know, it just makes you feel good when you have little victories like that. I'm also so close to my stomach not touching my steering wheel in my car, and I'm purposely keeping my seat in the same place so I have a way to judge how I'm doing each week. I don't drive that often because I work from home, so I haven't been in it in a couple weeks, but I'm planning on going out this week, so I can't wait to see the progress I've made. Also, I tried on the blue dress from my February cruise, and I was surprised how much more room I have in it and how different it fits. I'll include a current photo to compare it to, so you'll see my starting photo that I took on my cruise in February, and you'll see a photo that I took yesterday when I did my weigh-in. So it'll be a 24-pound difference. So all in all, I'm really excited that I'm losing weight, albeit it's going ridiculously slow. But now that I've managed to get my calories in the right place, I think my weight loss will increase per week. And I have a much better chance at hitting some of the intermittent goals that I've set for myself. And since we're talking about calories, let's talk about how did I decide my calorie intake goal. I worked with a registered dietitian to determine the maximum calorie intake I needed to lose my goal of 1.5 to 2 pounds per week. During my appointment, my dietitian did share with me how my recommended calorie intake is calculated. First, my basal metabolic rate, or BMR, is determined by my age, gender, height, and weight. And BMR is the number of calories you burn as your body performs basic life-sustaining functions. It's basically the calories your body would burn if you laid in bed all day. Once you've determined your base BMR, you add calories in for movement such as exercise, going to work, cooking meals, and going about your day. There are different levels of activity to choose from that will add a set number of calories. Since I'm very sedentary, I use the calorie range of little to no exercise. At my starting weight, my calorie intake to maintain 304 pounds was 2,299 calories per day. In order for me to lose 1.5 to 2 pounds per week, I needed to slash my daily caloric intake by 750 to 1,000 calories per day, which ends up being a calorie intake maximum of 1,549 calories to a minimum of 1,299 calories per day. A pound of weight loss is equivalent to a calorie deficit of 3,500 calories. So that's how I determined how much calories I needed to take off of my BMR to lose the weight I wanted to lose. When I initially started my journey, I started with a goal to eat 1,800 calories a day and slowly work myself down to 1,500 calories per day. And my calorie goal will not stay the same throughout each week of my journey, as it will change based on my weight. Now that I've lost 24 pounds, my base BMR has dropped by about 100 calories per day from the original 2,299. So that's it for this weigh-in update. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below. And I really want to thank everybody for watching. And if you're on a health journey as well, I truly wish you the best of luck, and I'd love to know how you're doing. I know weight loss can be challenging, but it's important that you don't give up. And be on the lookout for my next weight loss video update. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.